How you doing? Welcome to the Hands of Time. It's Big John Silver.
Paulie the Bull.
And we're here to do a recap of the top 5 albums of the year.
Yes, sir. This is just our opinion. You know, it's pretty much hip-hop predominant. But, you know, if you got an opinion on other genres of music, feel free to comment below, chime in, tell us where you agree, disagree, and we'll go from there. Yeah?
Yeah, man, I definitely take your suggestions. I love music in general. I listen to all genres of music. So
And he loves to argue. So
I love to argue
Yeah.
all day. We know. I argue about anything.
So what you got on your list, John?
So to me, this was a hard list to do. This was a really good year for music in general, but really good year for hip hop.
A lot came out this year.
I was sending you screenshots back and forth. Like I did like a Royal Rumble of albums, and basically I would eliminate a new album every day, starting from the first day we were talking to the last day of recording. So it was about 18 albums altogether, and I just kept on knocking one out, do a Royal Rumble. Basically, you know, I have like a 45 to an hour drive to work,
Right.
so I would just listen to one whole album, and then on my way back another whole album, and in that bracket, one of them will win, the other one will get knocked out. So basically, the way I laid it out, not necessarily in order, but my top 5 in general. So first one, I got J-Rock. That J-Rock Redemption album is just phenomenal. Like I didn't expect it to be that good. I didn't know what to expect in the first place because I mean, after hearing his first album, wasn't sure where to go with it. But I mean, TDE does not let down. They did not, you know,
True.
They have not, in my opinion, they have not released a bad album yet. So I loved all their projects, but that J-Rock album, just from beginning to finish, there's like 18 tracks on it, 17 tracks.
Something like that, yeah.
And to me, there's no skips. The only skip occasionally we win, and that's because it's like that catchy thing. But even the lyrics, they're ridiculous.
Right.
But I mean, he's dropping knowledge. He's doing similar to what Kendrick did on Good Kid, Mad City, where you close your eyes and you can picture yourself a day in Cali. So he's giving you the vision there. He's giving you story. He's dropping you knowledge, letting you know more about himself than about the life. Like it, I love the album, man. The album was just great. Great beat selection, good features. He went toe to toe with Kendrick, in my opinion. Like, I was impressed by that. He definitely went toe to toe with Kendrick on a back and forth rhyme. I think he had a good verse with J. Cole overall. You know, it had a couple hits on it overall, but I mean, that's my number one right there so far. That album's been like since I first heard it, it's been number one, and it's been a competitor back and forth with a few other albums, but I keep going back to it. That's definitely my favorite album of the year. I play it when I'm at the gym working out, play it driving to work. Like I play it all the time. I play the album non-stop on my flight to Cali. Like I love that album. That album's phenomenal.
Okay.
So for me, number 2 was Royce da 5'9", Book of Ryan. I'm a huge Royce da 5'9" fan. I feel like, you know how I feel. Like lyrically, ball for ball, I don't think there's many rappers in the game that exist that could go with him. But to me, he's never had that complete album or an album that had like full content. He had mixtapes and shit, but an album where it has full content. This album was a very personal album about himself. About his life, and he had a lot of songs on there that I kind of relate to itself with my own, my own past, my own family issues, my own dealing with parents and drug abuse and stuff like that. So this album spoke to me. I love this album, and I love hearing Royce not only use his lyrical content, but also speaking about his life and letting you know, like, hey, like I'm human too. This is what I go through. This is what I deal with. This is what I've been through. And so I love that. And obviously the father son element, just me having a kid, I relate to that as well. So the album itself was just dope. I love that album, and that was a strong competitor though, because there's a few songs on it that I personally, relate to fully.
Yeah.
That made it a strong competitor for number 1. So then for number 3, this one was like arguable for me back and forth. Like originally I bounced it out my list, then I threw it back on my list. Then it was in the top 10. It kind of was falling off, and then like after listening to it, I got Nick Grant, Dreaming Out Loud. That album, but it's top beginning, from front to back. Hard album, also an album that I really don't got no skips on. I love it itself. He got hits on there. That Nicki Boombaye is that song I can hear in the club. I can hear while I'm driving. Like I love that song. But his bars, like I think he's very underrated lyrically, and his bars is just there, man. Like the way he spits, phenomenal. He has some like crazy punchlines, crazy metaphors that like really go over your head. And then after a few listens, like it's something new all the time. It's kind of like one of those movies that you watch and like, yo, I didn't realize that. I didn't peep that. Kind of like Inception when it first came out. You're like, oh, you remember this, remember that?
Yeah.
His album is like that, with his bars, his lines that you didn't really catch right away, and then you play it back and like, oh shit, this was this metaphor for this. This is a punchline for this. But again, just the content is strong.
Yeah.
It has same thing. Has speaks on family values, issues, past, his own experiences, rapping, his thought on women, thought on life. I love personal albums. Personally, like to get me to be a huge fan, like all I need is some soul samples and some personal shit. Like you talk about your own life, you have some content in there, and which I can relate to, and you're a winner in my book. That Nick Grant one was a surprise though. I didn't think that would be anywhere near my list. That Nick Grant one is tough. That's my 3 right there. Then for number 4, this is one that I got put on to early in the year when it first came out in January. My man Zane actually put me on. Victory Lap, Nipsey Hussle. Yo, that album is ridiculous. Like, and even that one, like I played it when it first came on. I played it. I liked the album. Thought the album was great. But I was like, all right, well, this was good. Let me go on to the next album. So I could delete it off the iPod. Then me and you was talking. I was like, let me throw it back on. Let me remember again. And then I loved it. I was like, throw it back off the iPod. Then I want to say around we started having the conversations to do this episode. I was like, let me throw it on. Let me remember it again. I forgot how good it was. And this has literally been one of my other gym music albums. Like I love listening to it while I'm driving because the album is. Again, for the content, mad songs, like that's one way to get me too. You put a bunch of songs in an album and if they're good, like not skippable, you get me on there. I think there's like one song that occasionally I skip. Other than that, I love the whole album. And again, content. He's talking about like the game, schooling you how to make money, how to do things the right way. It's not just, what you expect, the gangster rap and all that. Like it's literally telling you like, yo, this is how you build a foundation. This is how you make your money. This is how you rent your money. This is how you do this. Instead of just spending all your money on jewelry and houses. He's actually kicking game on there, giving you some knowledge like that. That's something I always appreciate from my album. And then finally, number five. This was the hard one because the fight was literally Pusha T Daytona versus J Cole KOD. That was literally what the fight was. So as I said earlier, you get some soul samples and you have content and you have my heart. So J Cole was a strong competitor, but that Pusha T, man, that Daytona, that album was phenomenal. From the day it dropped on, like I have not, like it has not left the iPod for more than a week. Where I'm like, I gotta put this back on there. In the end, though, I did go with J Cole KOD for number 5. I just feel like it had more songs. So the way I look at things, like if you drop a 7-song album and 7 songs are hard, if I drop an 8-song album, 8 songs are hard, you automatically get bounced. So I think, and at least from my opinion, the 7-song thing killed the Pusha's chances because every other album I listened to had mad songs on it. Granted, again, it's 7 songs that were tough. Hard songs like that, the bars are there, the lyrics are there. Push did what he did, but 7 songs is just not enough for me. J Cole album on the other hand, I love the samples. I love what he used. Obviously, again, it's J Cole, the no features. The whole thing behind that. But from start to finish, like he was telling a story, he built content. It was great, and then even the additional song, which technically isn't part of the full content of the album, the 1985, he's technically not dissing rappers, yet still kind of dissing the new school and let them know this is how you do it. Yeah. And like, if you listen to it word for word, like he's trying to give you the game. Like, yo, look, y'all young motherfuckers, if y'all don't want to do shit correctly and y'all want to play this little game here and there, you'll never be worth your value at the end of the day. Versus someone like a J. Cole, someone who had that legacy, that history, and you got to respect that overall, man. And he had it a smart way because ball for ball, he could have slaughtered these dudes, but he did it in a very respectful, real, humble way, and yet still kick game, shit on them, and taught them something at the same time. So those are my 5. Those are my 5. If you haven't listened to any of those albums, I definitely recommend you go back on there, listen to those albums. Obviously, this is my opinion, so. Although I love to argue make me no sense, but I would respect your comments. Anything else you want to recommend? Any albums you want to recommend? Like I'll listen to.
So my 5 is pretty much the 4 is about the same as his. I had J-Rock Redemption. I love the storytelling. From start to finish, he's giving you a story of his career. Because a lot of people don't know he was actually signed before Kendrick. Had a deal before TDE really took off. And he's giving you that whole tour of where he was at, being like the first signee, and then things not panning out, then the career coming back, and so he's giving you that whole story and ending off with everybody's catchy song, win 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 win, deep lyrics, you know what I mean? But he finally made it. He finally had a place of success, and so you got to respect it. So I definitely, song for song, the story that it takes. It's an audio movie. I think he's definitely speaking to it, and it's relatable. So I definitely was bumping J-Rock Redemption all year. Second, I had Nipsey Hussle, Victory Lap. Also, Nipsey, somebody I respected since he first came out. Never really was a big fan of his music, but the name Hustle is, it's in his name. His career, what he did. He sold his first album for like $100, I think, or something like that, and it was just like the business mind of his. He's someone that speaks about real estate and investing. He's not about jewelry, cars, and what I'm saying. So he's always been somebody respected. And this time around, he put together an album that was phenomenal to me. Musically, he's not giving you heavy bars and like that crazy, but he's rapping, he's rhyming, telling a story. It all makes sense. It's all cohesive. And he's another one giving you the whole, victory lap. He's telling you where he started, where he came from, and where he's at now, where he's in a place of success, and he's comfortable with where he's at in life and stuff. So appreciate that. third one, again, these are going to definitely sound familiar like his, but Nick Grant, shout out to the homie Greg. He made me go back and listen to this again because when it first came out, I was into the first 3-4 tracks and then the album kind of faded away from me. Greg told me, listen again. The wordplay was still there throughout. It was, you had to kind of shift to the different tone of the content afterwards, after the hit songs went away. Then he gets into his story bag, and then that's when you really see where if he put together, an album or whatever. 'Cause I think this was considered like a mixtape or whatever. But nowadays, what's the difference?
It's definitely an album.
Yeah,
I give it an album.
You know what I'm saying? But you can see it shifted to that, and then he got more personal, more serious, and again, I don't think I have a skip on there. You know what I mean? So Nick Grant, Dreaming Out Loud, definitely on the list. Fourth, Royce the 5'9", Book of Ryan. Huge Slaughterhouse fan. Been a fan of them before Slaughterhouse. Royce was always lyrical. Was comedic at the time. We all know he had a drinking problem and stuff. Him and his relationship with Joe Budden was kind of what spawned Joe telling him to make more personal records, to get more introspective, because the lyricism is there. People know you had the talent, but it's like, but do they know you? And that conversation with Joe spawned Book of Ryan, and Book of Ryan is his most personal, deep, introspective album. And like you said, the samples, the soul samples, you're getting looking into his diary, getting a piece of his life from his childhood to him talking to his son now. It's a masterpiece for his level. Mm-hmm. I don't think any of those are classics by far. We can talk about that another day, but those are just great albums to me. And 5, As You, that 5th one was the hardest thing. So I'm going to cheat. All right? I'm going to put the Kanye West package. All 7 songs.
That's definitely cheating,
all
bro.
5 albums with 7 songs on them. I'm combining them because out of the 36 songs, there's a good 28 on there that I listen to. All right? Daytona, even Kanye's album, there's a couple songs in there. Might be like 2 skips on there out of the 7. Kids See Ghosts, I might have about 3 skips on there.
I skipped that whole album.
I listened to about 2. The first song with Pusha T, the one with Mos Def, not Mos Def, Mos Def is on the hook. Kids See Ghosts, the name of the song. There's 3 songs on there. Ghost Town.
I think I got 2. I think Ghost Town and then the shit with
you know what I mean?
With Pusha.
Tiana Taylor's album was great.
So good.
I just hate the fact that we hear it could have been better because of what she wanted to put on there that didn't come to fruition. But what we got was still great. So I mean, I would love to see what was to come. And we got the Wu-Tang remix of "Gonna Love Me." That was
fire.
Fire. Can't knock that at all. But other than WTP, I listened to that whole album. You don't
want to work that pussy?
Nah, no? I'm good on that. Right. So the 5 album and Nasir. A lot of people, I think
that was in the fight also. That was there. That was in the top 7.
And I think you said you didn't like the Simple Things in Life. You didn't like
is that
the last song thing?
The French shit.
Which one?
I don't fucking.
Well, I know it was
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Yeah.
I just wasn't feeling.
To me, that was
the beat was a little annoying. I mean, lyrically, I always feel like Nas brings it.
Yeah.
But like that, just the beat and everything, I just wasn't loving it. But the problem I have though is that the first 2 songs and the song with the Dream are so good that it makes the rest of the rest of the album doesn't even matter. It could have been all skips and it's still.
And that's why I was like that with Nick Grant, and then I had to go back. So it was like, to me, I liked all 7 of Nasir. I like all 7 of Pusha T. I like about 5 on Kanye's, about 3, 4 on Kids See Ghosts, and I like 6 out of 7, 7 out of 8 of Tiana Taylor. So to me,
I'm hating on work that
I could play them all together. I could play them all together. That'd be workout music. That's the workout.
You gonna work that pussy? I like it.
I mean, but yeah, that's my 5. Yes, I cheated on the 5th because but we also got some honorable mentions.
Cheating motherfucker.
My honorable mentions. I'll go with the honorable mentions that I had because there was a few that I couldn't narrow down because those 7 song albums were good, but they were only 7 songs.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do I do that? So my honorable mentions, some recent that just came out, Meek Mill Championships. I loved the first half of the album, and then it went into like single song type, label forced music that I didn't want to hear.
That Udo News is my favorite track though.
That's on the end
Jay
of
Z
the
one
album.
don't count.
That does
That
count.
obviously is the best song on the album. But just as a Meek
I don't
one
think that's the
though.
best song on the album though. I think Jay-Z holds that weight, but to me, I love Trauma.
Trauma. Udo News is my favorite.
Trauma. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of songs to pick from, so that's
But the
why.
reason I say that's the best is because Rick did a crazy verse, and then Meek
But he
shit
cheated.
on
That's
on
the
Ross's
Avengers.
verse.
That's Captain America: Civil War versus Captain America: Winter Soldier. But we're gonna talk about movies later. But that's cheating. You got the special guests on there. But yeah, to me, half of the album I love is great, and the other half is just you know what I mean. So that's why he's on my honorable mentions. T.I. Dom Trap. Again, it kind of came and went, but I think it's some good content on there. A lot of songs that I do go back to. K.O.D., J. Cole. Everyone has already seen on previous episodes of Word Music Dance how I feel about that album. I think featuring J. Cole has been the biggest thing of the year in music. By J. Cole, to me, wasn't as good. And I think featuring J. Cole stands out to me because he's on different production. He's rapping with different people. And I feel like he's more motivated when he's featured because he's going against that competitive nature.
Well, so my debate is that when he's featured, he also shines better because he lyrically is better than most of the rappers he's
That's
rapping
not
with.
true. That's not true. That's not
most
what
of
it
the
is.
rappers?
Royce the 5'9", Pablo Boat, Rhapsody, Sojourner. What was the other one?
J.I.D. shit.
J.I.D.
J.I.D. shit's bananas.
So he's with and J.I.D.'s his artist, but he's with some people. It's not even and recently the 21 Savage joint, but he's been in a lot of joints where he's with some good rappers. He doesn't just jump on anybody's joint. So I just feel like he just steps up a little bit more. And I don't even say step up because lyrically it's still there, even on the album. I just think the motivation is better when it's featuring J. Cole. And what else I had? My honorable mention, Eminem Kamikaze, which was to me more entertaining than Revival. Yeah, we already know how I feel about that. And Reason. Reason's re-released album. What was it? There You Have It, which we how'd you put me onto that?
Yeah.
Right? You discovered that. How'd you find out about that?
So I'm not gonna give him a plug real quick, but from listening to another podcast, they were talking about his album, and I was like, I never even heard of this kid. And then they said TDE, and since to me, TDE does no wrong. Like SZA shit is popping. That other kid Sir shit is great. Like his fucking album's great. So I was like, you know what, they doing a great job. Let me see what this is about. And I got put onto it, and like from start to finish, like yo, this is like it was a legit contender for my top five.
It was. I'm not gonna lie.
It definitely killed it. Like,
What took it off for me was basically is a re-release of something that's been out. So I was like, and the fact that it makes me look out for him. So I'm definitely looking forward to
Can't
what's
wait for
to
the
come
next
from
project.
it. Yeah. So those are my honorable mentions. Again, agree, disagree, comment. Let me know. Talk about it. John, what are your honorable mentions?
So for me, it's not only his honorable mentions, but it's like to me, it's albums that most people probably wouldn't have listened to that they should have, because for me they were actually in my top 10 competitors for top album, checking out Big Dude. So one of the first ones I gotta go with, I've been talking about this album since January podcast. Sylvan LaCue.
Yes, you have.
That album, Apologies in Advance. One, I love concept albums. So again, you got soul music, you got content, and then you got concept album. And for me, it's just fireworks. The album is a concept album, but he's actually spitting bars. He has content. He's rapping. He makes good music. So that album is phenomenal. Again, I've been talking about this shit since January. I feel like he still hasn't listened to it because he doesn't love me.
I haven't heard it yet.
But Sylvan LaCue, Apology in Advance, that album's fucking great.
I apologize in advance for not.
Then thank you, piece of shit. Then
I'ma get to it.
I got this kid Saba, who I heard randomly. It was on I was on Spotify. And my Spotify mix is literally it's Joe Budden, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Royce, and then whatever comes out of there. This kid popped up in the radio, in the radio playlist. So I heard this one song, and I was like, yo, this song's really good. Let me try out his album. This kid Saba, his album's called Care for Me. That album is fucking great from start to finish. He got a song there with Chance the Rapper going toe to toe with him, which I thought was pretty good. For a kid I never heard of. But the album's really good. To me, there's only one skip on that entire album.
So like Chance's,
Then
that lyrical and then
he can rap when you want to rap though.
yeah, when does he want to rap?
But when he wants to.
Oh, okay.
Then I got Reason. Reason's on there as well. Reason, that album surprised me. That album was literally in my fight for like top 5, top 6 in there.
Looking forward to you in the future, Reason.
Freaking, I got Flatbush Zombies, Vacation in Hell. That album's phenomenal. There hasn't been, in my opinion, like a group that 3 rappers like that held each other down lyrically and hope like in a long time. Like, I'm not comparing them to the Lox, but the next one that comes to mind is the Lox. It's 3 dudes and they all can rap. This is the same thing where it's not like, to me, like Migos, you have one real star and then 2 people who mumble nicely with a flow.
I thought it was 2 stars. It was Offset, Quavo, and then the other dude is left off Bad and Bougie.
I got left the Bad and Bougie?
He got left off Bad and Bougie. He got left off Bad and Bougie.
So I got that one. I love that album, and again, they could fucking rap. I never even heard these dudes until early beginning of the year, but they could fucking rap. Then I got Fonte, who I actually never heard of either until I heard from the same place I heard about the other album. I'm not gonna put another podcast out there and shoot a plug, but I heard. Let me try his album. Yo, from start to finish, this album is fucking dope. And then my last one is JID, DiCaprio 2. That album I fucking love. He's out of Dreamville, so like now you got TDE and you got Dreamville putting out content. That album I fucking love. It's JID. It's called DiCaprio 2. He's spitting. He ball rapper. He's killing it. And his flow is just ridiculous. Like, it's just, when I heard he's from Atlanta, I was like, all right, well, he probably spits like these or like that. Nah, he could spit.
Yeah, for sure.
Then 2 quick cheats real quick on the R&B tip. From TDE, his name is Sir. His album's called November. That album was excellent from beginning to end, like good R&B album. And then I got one other one, Black, who, by the way, when he first came out, I couldn't. Is it 6 Black?
No,
is it
Black. It's Black.
Like
it's Black.
When he first came out, I was like 6 Black. That's a weird
that's
name.
how you gotta like address, because for people to know what to look for, you gotta be like 6 Black.
Yeah.
And it's like,
so
oh, okay.
Literally, that's what I was calling when it first came out.
Yeah.
I felt like New York motherfuckers when the Nietzsche first came out and we were calling it E-Nice. Don't act like you weren't calling it E-Nice. You were definitely calling it E-Nice too. But then when finally someone put you on, was like, oh, it's a Nietzsche. Then you were like a Nietzsche. Yeah, I didn't know it was Nietzsche ahead of time. Y'all motherfuckers can't even spell right.
Isn't it really NYC?
So, no, I'm not getting into this.
It's NYC.
It's Nietzsche.
It's NYC.
It's Nietzsche.
It's NYC.
But it's Nietzsche though.
It's NYC.
But the actual
Whatever. It's NYC. How do you say it?
But anyway, but that shit in general like was a good album. I didn't know how to pronounce the name, but that album has not left since it dropped. It has not left my iPod at all. I listen to it probably at least every other day, from start to finish. I got like 1 skip on there. The kid can sing. He has good content, and I love the picture. The picture's him in the studio with his kid strapped to his chest, like while he was still doing his thing.
Yeah.
That alone I love. Like, showed me he's motivated, working hard.
Working.
One of the other things though that you put me on to, I never in my life would ever expect to have a Diplomat rappers album on my top 10 possible argument. Yo, Jim Jones album, Wasted Talent.
Yeah, that was in my honorable mentions too, just because it was very slept on.
I did not expect that. I remember, so when the album had came out, that weekend I was heading up to Vermont to see my cousins. That's a long ass drive. I literally put that album on repeat and I only listened to the album for the 4 hours, and it was like I didn't miss anything. I loved it. Like the entire album, I was really impressed.
It's entertaining.
I've never been a Jim Jones fan.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've never been a Diplomats fan. I could only stand Cameron before I do wear pink. I look good in pink though. I look good in a lot of colors. But anyway, but I never listened to like Cameron before Dipset. Other than that, I don't fuck with Diplomats at all. So I was actually surprised. Well, and Cam's mixtape he dropped with the Disc for Mace. That mixtape wasn't bad either. But yeah, I was impressed with that Jim Jones album. So that one, also, if you ain't heard that, give that album a chance. Like, I mean, again, it's not bars. But it kind of, he has some lyrics though. He has some lyrics.
He says he
better
has
than I thought
a line.
he had.
Yeah, he has a line here and there, but he stays on topic. He has a purpose. He said, it's maybe our bars have been lowered because of rap these days, but it's just like the bare necessities is there. He stays on topic. He rhymes. It's good music. Production wise is what really makes it stand out. So it's not like it's not really him carrying it. It's the production. It's good soulful music, like you said, soulful music. Typical Diplomats beats. Soul heavy. Some sped up samples, things like that. You can't go wrong.
But definitely a good album. I didn't give Diplomats Thanksgiving album a chance, so I don't even know how that was. I didn't get that chance.
Ironically, Jones was the highlight of that. Which was sad.
But I did originally have Kamikaze on my top 5. Then it bounced back and forth. Then I had honorable mentions. But my thing is so I'm a huge Eminem fan, but like when it comes to the top 5 of my album, all top 5 have content from beginning to end. Where M, in general, even after his first like 2 or 3 albums, he stopped doing it where there's spots of content, but it's not a full content album. So I couldn't do it there because all these other kids, even the kids I'm naming that you probably never heard of, that I'm telling you give a chance. There's content. Like I like content rap. But even when I'm driving, I can't like even though I was driving, I was listening to 21 Savage, the new album. It's not a bad album, but it's just not for me. Like when I'm driving, you don't realize, you know, all right, well it sounds cool.
It's his simple flow. But
I like content in my albums.
Yeah.
And so everything I mentioned, my honorable mentions and my top 5, to me is all content rap.
Yeah.
That matters more. You can do the Ooga Booga shit later.
So let us know what you think. You know, comment below. Give me your top 5. Give me ones you agree with. Give me the ones you haven't listened to yet. Let us know. We can compare. We can talk about it. The conversation continues as always. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the show, hit the like button. Share it. Tell your friends about it. Let them know what's going on. Also, hit subscribe and the bell to be notified when new content is loaded, because there's much, much more to come.